Hi everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to look at S3 object replication in AWS. Like in our various projects, we might have requirements to implement cross-region replication of S3 objects. So to achieve this, we are going to need the source buckets and the destination buckets. For example, we might have the source bucket in the US East 1 Virginia region, and we might have our destination buckets in the Cape Town, South African region, or we might have it in the EU West to London region, or we might have it in the ACR region. So we want to automate the process, like whenever we upload an object inside a source bucket, the object will get replicated to the destination buckets. So to achieve this, let me log into my AWS console. So this is my console. So to create Amazon S3 buckets, we are going to click on create buckets. And here, this is the bucket's name. In this bucket's name, let me name my buckets US East 1 Virginia buckets. All right. And I want to provision this in the North Virginia US East 1 region. I'm going to leave this as ACL disabled, which is recommended. I'm going to block all public access to my buckets, and I'm going to enable versioning. Tag is optional. I will want to encrypt my objects inside my buckets, and I'm going to leverage on Amazon S3 managed keys, and I'm going to hit on create buckets. So we just created the US East 1 Virginia buckets, which is our source buckets. So let us create our destination buckets. So let me name this US East 2 Ohio buckets. So I want to provision this in US East 2. I'm going to leave this as ACL disabled, block all public access, enable versioning, enable encryption, and create buckets. So I just created the source buckets and the destination buckets. So before we upload our object inside the source buckets, because we want to implement a cross-region replication, right? So that whenever we upload any object inside the source buckets, it should get replicated to the bucket in another region, right? So to achieve this, I'm going to click on the source bucket, which is a US East 1 Virginia bucket, and I'm going to click on this management session. I'm going to create a replication rule right here, create replication rule. And this replication rule name, we can actually give it any name. So let me give mine project 1, right? And I'm going to leave this as default. So this is the source bucket information. So choose a rule scope. I will want to choose a second one, which is apply to all objects in the buckets, right? And this is the information for the destination buckets. So choose a so now you can be able to choose a bucket in this account, or you might specify a bucket in another account. But in my own case, I want to specify I provision the destination buckets in the same account. So I'm going to choose a bucket in this account, and I'm going to browse the buckets to pick the buckets, which is a US East 2 Ohio buckets, and I'm going to choose paths. So for you to achieve this S3 replication, cross-region replication, you need a permission. You need to create an IAM role and attach the policy to the role so that S3 buckets in a particular region can be able to talk to another bucket in another region, right? So to achieve this, we are going to click on this drop down, and I want to select create new role. So this create new role is, so what this create new role is going to do is going to create a role and is going to attach a policy to the role, policy enough to achieve this task, right? So I'm going to create a new role, and I want to leave this as default because I don't want to configure storage class. And yeah, so I'll leave this as default, and I'm going to save the replication rule. So it's saying you can enable a one-time batch operation job for this replication configuration to replicate objects that already exist in the buckets and to synchronize the source and the destination buckets, right? So I don't have any objects existing inside my buckets. So I will want to choose this, which is no, do not replicate existing objects. And I'm going to click on submit. So now I have created the replication rule. And so the next thing we need to do, we need to click on our source buckets. So let us upload an object inside this source buckets and see if that particular object will get replicated to the destination bucket. So I'm going to click on add file. So I'm going to choose this index.html, open, and upload. So now I've created an object inside the source bucket. So let us check the destination buckets to see if these objects get replicated to the destination buckets. So I'm going to click on buckets, and I'm going to click on the destination buckets. There you go. So as you can see, the objects we created in the source bucket get replicated to the destination bucket. So this is how you can actually achieve cross-region replication of S3 objects. Thank you, guys.